Hello everyone, welcome back to a new bookish video. For today's video I am doing part 2 to the best and the worst books of 2021. And I said that I would stop doing bookish videos, but I really like doing these kinds of videos, so I will keep doing them. In part 1 I talked about the best and worst books of 2021 in the first 6 months of the year, and now I'm talking about the books that I have read in the later months of the year. So right off the bat, let's begin with the worst books of 2021. The book that takes the prize to be the worst of the worst books on this list, and it's even worse than the books that I read in the first half, is The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. I talk about this in the Reading Old YA and in the latest wrap-up that I did. The Queen of the Tearling I gave 2 stars, and thinking back on it, it deserves a 1-star rating rather than 2 stars, because this book made me so mad for multiple reasons. The men surrounding the protagonist of the book kept putting her down for things that she couldn't do anything about, like her weight, how she looked, or how she was brought up, and there's a lot of stereotypical things in this book, and it isn't discussed as an issue. The protagonist just takes the comments from these men and thinks that they're right, and that just made me mad. And I don't know if it gets better with the later books, if this is something like with the character arc of the protagonist and she's meant to change and evolve and the men around her is going to change and evolve. I don't know if that is a whole thing in the later books, but I will not be reading them to find out. Then I have A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir, and this is on this list not because it is a bad book. It's not because I thought the writing was bad or thought that the characters were impossible to, I don't know, feel for. The third book in the An Ember in the Ashes series by Sabaa Tahir, it just wasn't what I am looking for right now when it comes to reading. And for the first 2 books I was really interested, I was really hooked by the first one and wanted to read the next one immediately after finishing the first one. But this book was just quite boring, to be honest, and I can't really remember anything of it. I really don't have a reason for it, I just couldn't find myself caring for the characters or wanting to see where they ended up, and that's why I won't be continuing with the series and I won't be finishing the series. And then I also have Realmbreaker on this list, and it's a 3-star rating from me. Thinking back on it, it may even be a 2-star rating because it was just so long. It was too long, it was really boring, and I read a review of this book saying that even though a lot happened, it didn't feel like the book picked up, like the pacing picked up, or that there were high stakes, and you know, and that was what I felt while reading this book. I was just listening to it and reading it, and it was just page after page, chapter after chapter of nothingness, even though a lot happened. And you may think that I am exaggerating, and you may think that I am being too harsh for these books, but I kind of ran out of really bad books, and I think The Queen of the Tearling is the only bad, really bad book that I have read this year, and so I needed some other books to talk about. But these were not great in any sense, and I honestly, when I read Realmbreaker, and in that vlog I talked about wanting to read the sequel, but thinking on it, like if I have time and if I don't want to read anything else, then I will pick up the sequel to Realmbreaker, but only then. Now we get to the best books of 2021. Right off the bat, I just need to say that I didn't read a lot of 5 stars during the second half of 2021. I don't even think I have read that many 5 stars in the whole of the year, which is quite sad. So the only 5-star read I have to talk about today is Golden Sun by Pierce Brown, the second one in the Red Rising saga, following our main character Darrow. And why I gave this 5 stars is because I always feel this when reading Pierce Brown's books, like the first one and the second one, and now the third one which I'm listening to. It feels so smart. Like every plot twist, everything about this book just outsmarts me as the reader, and I love that. I love when plot twists just happens and I haven't anticipated them, but it feels so on point, that plot twist. It just means that I am just as shocked as our main character, like I'm feeling for the main character. It's just so damn good. And if you haven't read Red Rising or Golden Sun or Morning Star, the 3 books in the Red Rising saga, then you should definitely do so because they are chef's kiss. Then I have 2 romance books by the same author, Helen Huang. The Kiss Quotient, #1 and 2. So the first one is The Kiss Quotient, and then the second one is The Bride Test, I believe. And I gave both of these books 4 stars. And they were so cute, they were so funny, kind of like sad, really sad at some moments. It was just a really fun time. And that's one thing that I'm really proud of, if you could say that I ventured out into different genre territory this year. I read a lot more romance than I have ever read. That's something I'm really proud of and wanted to do for this year, and the Kiss Quotient #1 and 2 were definitely a part of that. But moving on from that, I just want to talk about the last book, which is one of the best books that I have read this year, which is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I have done a reading vlog of this book and I have done a wrap up about this book. I gave this book 4 stars, so it isn't up there with Golden Sun. This book was just so good when it comes to aesthetic, when it comes to creepy feeling while reading it, and I thought that it was so great. And everyone that is saying that it's just aesthetic and like the story isn't worthwhile or interesting enough or the characters aren't good, I don't agree. And I think everyone should read this because I don't even know what to call it, but it was a great horror, thriller, mystery, spooky book. And I'm really glad that I read that book this year for Halloween and for October. So with that said, that was both the worst books and the best books that I have read in the later half of 2021. So with that said, leave a like and a comment. Let me know what you have read this year. Any worst books, any best books, any mediocre books. I feel like I have read a lot of mediocre books, like a 3-star. This was a 3-star year for me. And subscribe. I post a new video every week, every Thursday, the same time every week. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!